What's the creepiest experience in your life? It was my first experience with sleep paralysis. But I think it also might have been a dream at the same time. It was confusing. I woke up unable to move a muscle. After a few seconds of panicking, I remembered some tricks to get myself out of sleep paralysis. Willing on feelings come back into your body. I typically think that is BS, but this time it worked. I sat up and looked around my room. It fell off. Like the room was moving around me. I reach for my phone to check the time, and see that it is 3:27 a.m. Then I hear a sound from across my room. I get that feeling that I'm being watched. The hair standing up on the back of my neck, the chill going down my spine, and that undeniable sense pure dread. I hear the sound of heavy, raspy breathing. Something was in my room, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew I wasn't safe. I could hear the phlegm crackling its throat upon each and every breath it took. A cold sweat quickly ran over my body. The room felt cold. No, not cold, it was absolutely freezing. As much as I wanted to wrap myself in my blankets, and hide, just pray for that thing to go away, I knew I had to find out what was in my room. I hesitantly turn on my phone's flashlight. I slowly pan it across my floor, towards the other side of my room. Then I stopped when I see a pair of black loafers, partially covered by dark trench coat. I felt like my surroundings restarting to warp even more, as they slowly drug my flashlight over the creature's body. It had the shape of a man, but I knew it wasn't human. As the light revealed more and more of its features, I saw that in one clenched fist it had something furry in its gloved hand, the other holding something silver and sharp, with the red stain on it. I do not want to go any further, but I knew I had to. When the light hit its face, I was overcome with pure terror. A scream was frozen into my throat. Its features looked like an amateur sculpted them out of clay. Everything was over-exaggerated. The smile was spread from ear to ear. Its eyes were hollow and empty sockets. Its face was heavily textured, a dull, muted, pinkish beige. I could see that some parts of its face was swollen with inflammation, what other parts had black veins crawling under the skin. Suddenly the whole image became clear as my surrounding is warped and distorted. I saw that in one hand he held my rabbit, her throat was slit, her head almost severed. All sound stopped, other than a ringing in my ears, and dull thuds of my heart. When I finally woke that none of it had happened. Ever since that night, that monster has been a recurring entity in all of my nightmares. He's always there. I feel like he's always been there. That maybe I'm just noticing him for the first time. Was visiting my parents with my husband. They live in the countryside, and me and him decided to go for a walk at night, look at the stars and all that. It's maybe 11 p.m. So we walk for a bit, reach the top of a big hill and lean on the gate looking over a field. Pretty stars, moon out, no torches. We're there for maybe 5 minutes when I spot a man walking slowly across the field towards us. The guy doesn't have a torch, which seems super weird to me. Like, we didn't bring one, but we're walking along the roads and there's a bit of light from the moon. The only reason a man would be walking in the field would be if he was out checking his livestock, which you would definitely need a torch for. He's just slowly walking straight across the field at us and I can't think of any reason for him to be there. I ask my husband, "Do you see that guy?" He says yes. I say, "What's he doing?" My husband says, "I don't know," then shouts hello and waves at the guy. Why? Nothing. Doesn't slow down, doesn't wave, doesn't say anything. Just keeps walking straight towards us. Husband shouts hello again. No response again. I'm fucking terrified and assuming this dude is a lunatic and we need to run. And then the guy turns slightly to the side and is a horse. Turns out at a distance in the dark, the shape of a horse walking directly towards you looks exactly like the outline of a person. A few years ago, I was home alone with my sister. I was 14, she was 13, and my parents and siblings went out for 6 hours. Me and my sister were sitting at the TV watching Dr. Phil, and we hear a lock. All our doors were locked, so I was confused. I checked the house and found nothing. The next night I'm in my room working around in booty shorts and a sports bra. I hear a click sound. I thought nothing of it and laid on my bed that faced the window and went on my phone. I hear another click. I put on the t-shirt and I go to my window and I slam on it. A guy with a fucking camera was hiding and he bolted. I screamed for my dad and he realized what happened and he went after the guy and the dude was caught. Turns out he hid multiple pics of me over the course of 2 months of me sleeping, showering, and changing along with multiple pics of other underage girls. So of course he got arrested. That was by far the creepiest experience. I'm 17 now and I still get a pit in my stomach when I tell the story and I always feel watched. When I was really little, between 2 and 3 judging by what house this took place in, I turned in my bed and saw my father laying in a plank position. He was balanced perfectly on top of the flimsy plastic safety rail. My father is a disabled veteran and at the time he could barely walk without a cane. But he was just laying there, perfectly balanced, on an inch-thick plastic rail. His arms were rigid against his side, his eyes were open and staring up, and his mouth was gaping. I got freaked out so I got out of bed and his eyes shifted and looked at me while the rest of him was completely still. I ran into my parents' room, where my father was asleep in bed. I'm convinced this was sleep paralysis at a young age. Several other events have happened throughout my life and I still get hypnagogic auditory hallucinations when falling asleep each night. There were many incidents happened at one of our rented flats back when I was a teen. My sister and I were babysitting our cousin's kids, aged 10, 6 and 3 respectively. The youngest was one of the brightest and the most polite kid you could ever meet. So, there we were getting ready for bed and he asked for some water. I lifted him up, took him to the table outside the kitchen. Now, we always had the window open in there and this window took 3/4 of the wall. From where we both were standing sitting, that window was to my right in the kitchen. It was almost sunset. The kid was sipping water, I was looking at his face, maybe talking about something I don't remember what. He has ridiculously long and beautiful eyelashes, so I often caught myself looking at them. I saw his eyes move towards the window and becoming wide, his face lost color. All of this happened in a split second and he said, "That black man." I looked towards the window. Of course there was no one, we lived on the 2nd floor. I inquired about what did he just say, his face still horrified, eyes never leaving the window. The black man tried to smash the window with his axe, he couldn't and ran away to the other building, the one adjacent to ours. I soothed him by saying along the line of, "He got nothing to worry about, we are all here with him." There was no way he could make this up, he never lied. I am very strong-nerved and rarely get rattled, but this shook me good enough that I couldn't sleep that whole night. We had a peeping Tom that would secretively work his way around neighborhood properties at night. He held a flashlight and coffee can in his hands. People would notice him looking in bedroom windows and lingering there. When someone would call him out on it, he'd say, "I'm a fisherman out looking for night crawlers." When finally caught by the police, the peeping Tom became known as the night crawler. A few months later, he was apprehended again. Looking in his favorite house with attractive females' bedroom windows while pretending to be grabbing worms for the next day's fishing. I was at a nightclub with a friend and this guy came over and started talking to me. We spoke for about 30 minutes. During that time, he kept asking where do I live. I would give vague answers because I didn't feel comfortable telling him. He seemed too personal in asking questions. As my friend and I were leaving, he seen what type of car I was driving and just waved by and went back in the club. A week later, I was leaving for work and found flowers in my car with no note. This was in 1982 when nobody locked their car door. The following week, I found a card in my car stating that he found out where I lived and sat in my car for 4 hours hoping I would come out so he can see me. I noticed my personal items missing from car as well. He said he didn't feel comfortable coming to the door due to my parents were home. This was creeping me out. I locked my car the first time, scared what I may see next, him probably laying down in my back seat. He wrote another note that he was pissed that I started locking my car doors and left it on windshield. The following week he busted my window out, that is when I got the police involved. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and leave a like. You can also turn on notifications to be alerted when a new video uploads.